Hi, Odella families and learning coaches. I'm Mrs. Patrick, and I work in the title department at Odella. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the winter benchmark. This is going to take place the first week our students come back after winter break. Winter benchmark? So what does this mean? Well, a benchmark is a test that happens 3 times during the school year. We've had a fall benchmarker test. Now we're going to have the winter when we return from break, and then we have a third in the spring. These tests measure the same skills. We just want to make sure our students are growing as the year goes on. The winter benchmark, as well as the fall and the spring, are done through iReady. iReady is a program that the state has approved for us to use for benchmarking. Yes, the state does require these tests done throughout the year. And I'll get to a little bit more of that in a moment. So when we see the word diagnostic, don't be confused. Benchmark, diagnostic, and testing, they're pretty much the same. Benchmarking is a little bit different because it's a larger test. Where we have our diagnostic and test, we can use those words more interchangeably. The reason we do this is we want to see where your student is. We want to make sure if there are gaps that iReady has a program to fill those gaps. iReady also assigns that student a pathway based on their scores. The iReady test itself is what we call adaptive. And adaptive just means changes like it would in our world outside of learning. But here for our diagnostic test, when we say it changes, I'll give you an example. If a student continuously is answering correct questions on a skill that they're measuring or being questioned on, those questions are going to get harder and harder as that student continues through the test, because that they are knowing that that student is at a higher level than what they started the test on. The reverse is true. If the student is not answering questions correctly, they're going to make the questions easier, and they're looking for where that level is that they're comfortable with and answering consistently for some time before they go on to another skill. So that's what we mean by adaptive. And that's why it's very important to not get help during this test, because we want to see what the student knows. And if a parent or learning coach is helping them, which is very hard to not do if a child is struggling. But in this instance, we really need to see right where the student is at so that they have the correct pathway to fill in those gaps that may or may not be there. Once the test is complete, we do have our scores for them and grade levels that the test believes them to be on. So again, this is important for them not to get help because they're going to have teacher-assigned lessons and pathways. Teacher-assigned lessons will be assigned by the teacher according to what the lessons or curriculum they're working on in the class at that time. But a pathway that the student learns in iReady is filling in those gaps that they may have seen during that test. That's their asynchronous time that they're doing iReady lessons. Those iReady lessons are based on these tests, these benchmark tests. So we really want to zone in on right where that student is. So that time when they're away from the teacher and they're using asynchronous lessons, they are very custom made for your students. And these are all our online lessons too. The teacher-assigned lessons are also asynchronous and online. So another reason we do these tests is from the Ohio Department of Education. In grades K through 3, we have something called the Third Grade Reading Guarantee. It's a program that identifies students from kindergarten through grade 3 that are behind in reading, and we then provide help and support to make sure those students can get back on track or level. We hope to see all this success by the end of 3rd grade, and according to the Ohio Department of Education, if a student does not pass the state AIR test in spring, they are not promoted to 4th grade. They must pass their reading test in 3rd grade to move on to 4th grade. So that is very important, and we really want to make sure we catch any student who's falling behind. At this time, if they did fall behind, they would be put on a reading improvement plan so we can intervene with possible title services and extra interventions and look at those test results and see the areas that they were maybe lacking some skills that they need just some extra help with, just a boost up to get them back on track. And our goal is always to get them back at grade level or beyond. So what's next after they take the benchmarking and while they're taking the benchmarking when we get back from break? We want to encourage students to take their time, to do their work, and of course to be proud of themselves for completing the test and for doing their best. Regardless of what grade level we're at, we want to make sure that they do their best, and we tell them how proud we are of them for trying. And we will keep on trying and get them where they need to be. Thank you, and I hope we have a great and peaceful, healthy break over the winter, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the upcoming 2021 year. Thank you.